Okay, how we doing, guys? Good day to all. Here we are on Thursday, the 30th of May, and so as a Thursday, we're looking at traditionals. You guys, so I would love to see all the participation in the polling this morning. I was really glad to see that, particularly on a day when we're looking at traditionals. So despite all that participation here, you guys end up with the NQ and CL, which I think we'd done. Let's see, 7 or 8 days ago here, but that's just nice, convenient for me. I just pick up right where we left off. So here's where we left it. The idea being that we, per the count as currently labeled, we've got a 1, 2, 3's gone in. And the idea was we'd be looking for some sort of a three-wave correction, and then we had an algo target up here for the 5. So I mean, so far, pretty much right by the roadmap. So let me pull this off here. Now I know you can't see in there, but I just wanted to kind of make this point here, how we had outlined this area of potential support. So it's resistance, 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 resistance. Now potentially it's here as the support. So with that established, let's clear this off of here so you can see just off of this wicking here, we can see how consistent that's been. Now we did get a tick or two through it, but so there's a little bit of a hesitation on this count because the symmetry is not ideal. Right? So we get a 1, 2, then a monster 3. Now, we don't know if the 4 is in, but if we're going to get something like this, right, it wouldn't be your first choice in terms of that symmetry, right? So the 1, 2 relative to the 4, makes you pause just a little bit, right? So it doesn't mean that this is not going to be what we're going to realize here. So I stick with it because the subdivision on the way to this top here is so solid, right? It's just clean all the way through, right up to the last little pivot. Now we do get a little squirrely up here at the top where we get a triple top, but we got to go down this here. Let me go to a 3 hour here. So it makes the count a little dicey up here because you have this one bar that's a bit problematic. So let me bring this down here, open this up a bit. So we've got all this chop here as we move slowly, right? We've got a series of lower lows eventually, and then we get this, well, you can't even see it here. We get this one bar here that gives us a new high relative to these prior pivots. So the only way I can see to put this into an Elliott context, we've got to go into a diagonal for the 1, then that's a hell of a 2. But then the 3, 4, 5. So we stay with an impulse coming off of that low. Oh, and the 2, right? I mean, this is a tricky one. So the 2 through the 3, we get here. So we come right here, Vegas wave, right to the 38. Now we blow right through first target and end up down here, kind of in no man's land. So it makes you wonder, were they using something else here? So possibly here we are to the 50 and maybe a front run on the second. It's hard to know. It's hard to know. But I can definitely get 5 down here into the proposed A wave here. I got my B as well, and that, as you'll recall, we looked at this, looked like it was a slight front run on the golden zone. All right, so slight front run here, left you a little bit shy, but certainly close enough here for a front run on that. And then it looks like I've got 5 coming down. So here we are at the 38, right, in that longer term support. We can look at our oscillators. We're oversold here on the RSI. We do have, it's not dramatic, but we do have some divergence here, right? Certainly we've got divergence between the 3 and the 5, right? Pardon me, so between the A and the proposed C. So there we can see that pretty clearly. It doesn't mean that we have to be done here, but there is the potential for us to be starting to rally off of this. Interesting, you just look at the volume profile here, we come right down here to this lower edge. Now this is visible range here, so you got to keep that in mind. It's going to be a reflection of what we can actually see on the screen. All right, so we do get this little low volume node area here. So we get right just on both sides of it here, and that seems to be framing what we've just hit. Now take note here, we do get the corner pocket here. It's not technically a golden because we don't come into the golden zone, but we bang the median line once, twice. Now, are we going to be shy on the third? Well, that would be a sign of strength, but the 80% that I always talk about has been realized now repeatedly. All right, so that was the nice trade off the set. We had talked about that before and a couple of different ways to trade that. So we're a little shy here. We didn't make the algo target. We didn't make the median line for the third time here. So, the subdivision, let's see, I got to go tell you what, I do not know why that has moved over, but I can't seem to figure out how to undo whatever I did to cause it to be over there. 1, 2, 3, 4 looks like I can finish down here. So if we go, let's go down to the hourly and just get a better look at it. So you got to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like I could be done here. Yeah, let's just check it here. So let's just look for some wave relationships that would be consistent. So here's our high probability zone. We get through that length of the 1 projected from the 2. So we're a little beyond our high probability zone. We run into this prior, right, remember I had wicked that off here. This was our resistance. So as we tag the median line at the 200, that's where we get our reaction. Now we can also look for the 2 through the 4. Note here we get the 1618. Look how technical that is, right? As we come from the 4, we get the 1618, get the bounce, and then now you look down here and you go, are we going to get that 2618? Well, we're moving further from the median line. So if we're going to bounce down here, you might be looking for lower targets. So question becomes, is this our 3, 4, right? And we just have an extension in the 5. This looks fairly solid. I like the ABC here, and I can go 1, 2, 3. Now the 4, you know, it's a bit larger. It looks like, let's see, we'd have to do it this way. So, come here. We get something along these lines here for our. So let me just put the degree up so I don't confuse us here. So let's go up to micro here, and then as we come down on the hourly, yeah. So we can get 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, are we done down here? So let me get that down, and let's go to we'll go to green. So are we done down here? Right as we hit the 272, could be. Right. So hard to say as to whether or not that move is done. We're not going to really know. We need to see, is there an algo that's going to play ball in here, right? We know likely that from this pivot here, we'll have something here. So let me get some of this out of here. This will help identify whether or not we have our pivot here. It's certainly a contender. Right, so the fact that we don't make the median line potentially now is a sign of strength, but we're going to need to see a pretty good move out of this. Yeah, so yeah, let me scrunch back up here. 2, 3, 4. So the subdivision in the 5, yeah, I don't like to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's there, right? So we're going to need to get a decent motive coming off of this. So let me open this up even more here. Right, so I can finish these. There's the 4, the 5. Now the 1, 2 is not ideal. So already we're looking at a diagonal. So let me open this up even further. We could probably make this case here that we can get a 1, 2, A, B. Oh, I got to measure that. Let's see if that's 3, 4, 5. Now let's just double check on that. All right, so the 1, 2 I don't love. All right, so there's 1, 2. Okay, that could work. So we'd have to go. Oh boy, that's A, B, C into the 3 here. Now for the 4, we'd be looking for something, a relationship. Let me get these down here. Between the start of the 1 and the pivot of the 3, if, right, I've got this correctly identified. So if we're here, if this is our 1 through 3 here, we'd be looking for something at the 50. That's a front run, so decent move off of it, but we need to get this to complete up here. So coming off of this range, we got to get up here, and then we feel a little bit better about this kind of wonky 1, 2 that we have here. It's not ideal, and even the 3 is a little shaky. But we've got, if we go, so there's potentially now we could come down again. It's a little early to call that 4 just yet. We could easily have a little something like this come down here. 50 is where you'd ideally spot it. Then we're up for that algo target off of the 50, and we know we've got an algo behind that trade. Now this could be the front run, so it's hard to say. Hard to say for sure. So is there a trade there right now? Well, so I wouldn't, right? So I wouldn't on a swing trade. I wouldn't until I see how this completes. I need to get little stronger sense of where we are here. Give me the 5 here, and then I'll happily wait for this, right? Then I'll wait for that and try and get that. But this, so of course, right, there's always going to be an algorithm on the other side, so we've got to pay attention to this reaction here as we come down. Now here we've come up to the 50, potentially that's a front run, but what we need to see, we got to get through this 65. And then of course we'll have to go back, right, and back again. So there's some work to do here to come out of this. But so why try and catch the falling knife, right? So yeah, we have some technical confluence down here. Again, it would have been ideal to tag that median line. But since we don't, you have to be a little bit cautious here that this could very easily roll over yet again, right? No shortage of market moving events in the background. So I would be cautious here. You know, the market's a little nervous, right? You know, the relentless trade talks are just go on and on and on and on and on, and you know, of course, every little tweet or blip or comment moves the market. So I'd be cautious down here. I don't think there's any reason to force a trade in the you know, FOMO thinking. Let a solid motive complete here, and then catch the retrace where you can be very clear about where you know your thinking has been invalidated, right? So, or the idea that this is a motive gets invalidated, and perhaps we end up with an ABC here, and then all we do is just retrace and then carry on going lower. So I don't know that I'd be buying aggressively here, despite the fact that it looks fairly good. We go back out to the 4 hour, and you can make a case for it here, but you're trying to pick the low before you have that first little motive wave to give you a little bit more confidence and a little higher probability that you've got a good low there. It's hard to call that just yet. So I just in always, right, so let's say you go, oh shit, man, that guy told me to wait and I missed the trade. Damn it. Guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, let's say you miss it, right? And it gets up here, right? And you're like, I was gonna buy that. Well, you know, a guy put doubt in my mind. I get that. I understand. So first, you got to make your own trade decision, right? So don't not buy it or buy it because I'm telling you. I can only give you my thoughts on this. So for me, that's not good enough. That's really all I'm saying. That's not enough for me to put money at risk. Give me the 5. I feel much better about it. Give me this here. Then I can be very, very precise. Well, okay, there's my entry. Here's my stop. I know where I'm wrong. Right, so it doesn't even have to be that tight. You could work off the golden zone, or you could put your stop below that little confluence zone here, that prior resistance. So you want to give it a little more room, you know. But think about what you're trying to get there. Right? So if this is the 1, let's say we get that 5. Let's say we get the algo target, and that's the 2. You know, we're not going off to new highs. Not likely to go off to new highs, right? So if we think about reasonable guidelines for what we can anticipate coming off of that, if we get a larger motive, and in this case what would be an impulse coming off of that, well, there's plenty of resistance along the way. So there are going to be areas where, so if you miss this for whatever reason, or you didn't like it, or you concurred with my judgment here that it's not ripe just yet. I mean, there's going to be, you know, put that in context, right? This is a relatively tiny little move, right? This is just another, you know, just another trade, guys, right? It's just another trade. So if you miss this here, and this starts to get legs here, and we come up, well, this whole thing will just move up. Right? So there will be an opportunity, likely an opportunity for, you know, all of this just moves higher. Right, there will be an opportunity to buy into a retracement. Right, we're not likely to just go straight. So there will be some retracement because we're going to hit resistance. Right, we're always going to bump into some resistance, and then likely there's a retrace that would give you a better opportunity. It confirms the move off the low, so now you feel better about the low. We're buying as it's being discounted. Right, always want to buy it when they're putting it on sale, and then if we can get into that turn, right, without letting something like this get away from you, where you've got something like this here, right, then we can get long here, and it's right again. If this is going to be a 1, 2, 3, this is not going to go straight. There'll be little opportunities to add if you start feeling better about it. So don't force something down here just because we hit the 38, and just because, well, I can kind of see it here. Right? I've made that mistake. Right? I know that thinking. Right? You're trying to get, well, oh, it's all there. Everything qualifies. I see the 5. I've got the 5 of the 5 of the 5. Right? So I'm Boom, I'm buying it. You know, these market, they can just keep going, and then the whole thing gets relabeled. All of a sudden, you're calling this the 3, and you know, maybe this is the 1. And we end up with an ending diagonal. There's lots of ways this can stay consistent with an Elliott count here. With this as a B, and this is going lower. So just because we can make a case for a pivot here doesn't mean that's the pivot. It's a candidate. It's potentially the pivot, but I always want to see a little more confirmation rather than just sit down here with a limit order, you know, with your catcher's mitt going, okay, give it to me, I'll take everything you got, right? Just throw it to me. I'll buy. I'll just keep buying, right? So I'll just now I'm leveraging. Now I'm averaging down my price, right? That's how shit, you know, gets away from you. And what was just a little bit, just another trade, just take another trade. All of a sudden, that thing's gotten away from you, and now you're you know, in freak mode. Oh shit! I never woulda, shoulda. Oh, just come back for me. Oh, just this one time. I'll never do it again. Been there. Been that guy. Make the trader's prayer. Oh, just this one time. Get me out of trouble. Just this one time. I'll never do it again. Never. I'll never do it again. Never, please. Get my point. All right, guys. Back to you in a minute.